A recent encounter in an elevator between a middle-aged man from mainland China and his new neighbor has stirred online discussion.
搬家的兄弟哈，去多少楼搬的？
对，搬家，麻烦了，大哥，那个20楼。
Hey man, you're new here, moving in, right? What floor are you headed to? I could give you a hand. Yes, I'm on the 20th floor. Is it a new place? How much did it cost you? Yeah, just bought it. Came to about 1.2 million total. Oh, so the down payment was 1.2 million? With interest rates lower now, your mortgage should be lighter. No, buddy, I paid in full. With all the fees, it was 1.2 million altogether. The man's expression changed as he muttered to himself.
加一块120。
1.2 million for everything? When I bought mine, I paid that much just for the down payment. His neighbor tried to reassure him.
哦，那您应该买的是？
Then mine must be smaller. You probably bought a 3-bedroom. Mine's just a 2-bedroom, so your place must be better. The man replied, Mine's the same as yours. By the way, I saw you come out from the garage. Did you also buy a parking spot? The neighbor's response hit even harder. The parking spot was included. It's all part of the 1.2 million. Struggling to keep his composure, the man muttered, All right, let's stop here, and hurried out of the elevator. The neighbor called out, Hey man, come by sometime. As he left, the man quietly muttered an expletive under his breath. The comment section erupted with laughter. Some tried to comfort him. Don't worry, buddy. In 2 years, the one who paid 1.2 million will feel the same way you feel now. As China's real estate crisis deepens, plunging property values has devastated the savings of many middle-class families and in recent months have triggered violent clashes. On October 3rd, a financial vlogger said that during the National Day holiday, he received videos and letters from fans in Zhongshan, Guangdong, and his new hometown of Hefei, Anhui. One video showed the sales office of the Yin Genting real estate development project in Zhongshan being smashed. He noted that in 2023, the property was priced at 18,000 yuan per square meter, non-negotiable. By 2025 holiday, the same units were selling for just over 7,000 yuan per square meter. For existing owners, this drastic drop felt like a humiliation. Many, unable to accept what they saw as a collapse, threw bricks at the sales office. In recent years, as prices plunged, incidents of smashing sales offices have been reported across China. Direct expressions of anger and despair from homeowners watching their assets evaporate. In August, a Guangdong internet user reported that developers at the Tang'an Garden Phase 2 project near Tianhe Park suddenly cut prices, prompting homeowners to stage a collective protest at the sales office. Photos showed crowds of homeowners protesting. Within just a year, the price per square meter had fallen from over 40,000 yuan to below 20,000 yuan, a drop of more than 50%. Public data shows that in August, second-hand prices for Tang'an Garden Phase 2 averaged 16,775 yuan per square meter, consistent with Guangdong internet users' report. On August 13th, media reported that 7 developments in Guangzhou had promised to cover the price difference if property prices dropped. They offered up to 200,000 yuan in property fees for homeowners who could provide valid proof of decrease. An internet user dismissed this as a marketing ploy, questioning what counts as valid proof and who decides. They argue that if buyers worry about falling prices, the real solution is not to buy in the first place. Once purchased, it's up to the market. In July, homeowners at the Wenting Yaju development in Haikou City protested at the sales office, demanding that developers not cut prices and even threatening to smash the office. Local police arrived but did not intervene. The developers responded on the spot, stating that there was no law preventing them from lowering prices. They questioned whether homeowners would cover the difference if prices were to rise. Additionally, they pointed out that with the market as a whole in decline, it was uncertain who would be responsible for the unsold units. Many internet users added that prices remain too high and still have room to fall. They said people in China had been misled for too long into thinking property values would never drop, but that day has now come. In April, a vlogger reported that the sales office of the Jiangling Time City development in Nanchang's Honggu Town district was smashed. The reason was straightforward. When it launched, the project sold for up to 12,000 yuan per ping, a Chinese unit of area equal to about 3.3 square meters, but was now selling for 4,388 yuan. Earlier buyers were extremely dissatisfied. The project opened in September 2021 in Julong Lake New City. On April 17th, Homeowner Ms. Wang told reporters that her family bought a 3-bedroom unit in 2022 for 1.19 million yuan. 2 years later, it was worth only 400,000 yuan. She said they still owe 700,000 yuan on the mortgage. Even if they sell now, they'll have to cover an extra 300,000 yuan, equivalent to about 42,000 US dollars. In August last year, a development in Longgang District, Shenzhen, sold units at a 50% discount. Outraged homeowners smashed the sales office. Reports said emotions ran so high that security guards couldn't hold back the crowd, and the entrance doors were knocked down. Chinese media outlet Jiamian News reported that in April 2024, a furious owner at the Power China Longrui Chang'an project in Wuhan smashed the sales office, causing chaos at the scene. Over the past year and a half, prices there have continued to fall, down 10,000 yuan per square meter since launch. By 2024, units were being sold at 1,111 yuan per square meter, below land cost, prompting homeowners to smash the sales office again. A Wuhan market insider explained that the project is located in the Hanyang Inner Ring, unaffordable for first-time buyers, who generally purchase properties on the outskirts of the Third Ring Road. An internet user commented that property is ultimately a commodity, and protesting price drops is pointless. Yet they said the phenomenon reflects a deep insecurity. Though irrational, such actions are unlikely to stop and may even increase. Someone claimed that property in Shenzhen has completely collapsed, adding that with the more reports of steep declines, it's unclear how many more people will take their anger out on sales offices. He said,
兄弟，深圳的房子你就不要先看。
Friends, I'm telling you, stop even looking at houses in Shenzhen. Prices here have gone completely crazy. It's like the city is giving everyone who buys here a brutal wake-up call. A place that used to sell for 128,000 yuan per ping is now going for only 38,000. You might not believe it, but this isn't some story. It's the reality of Shenzhen's housing market. Right next to my company, there's this once hype complex, Moonbay Garden. It's gone down by 73%. 90% of the owners in that community have lost everything. They don't even know which way to turn. Just think about it, from 128,000 down to 38,000. How is that even possible? This crash is more brutal than a car wreck. And it's not the last one. Look at Donghai International Apartments. Once 245,000, now it's down to 50,000. You tell me, if you were an owner, how would you feel? The decline in housing prices has fueled social tensions and conflicts, but failed commercial property investments can directly cause financial collapses for middle-class families. These losses rarely draw attention, yet they are even more devastating. A tragic case from a university professor's family in Hefei, Anhui, illustrates this point. A financial blogger said he recently received a letter from a fellow native of Hefei. The writer described how one property investment destroyed 2 generations and 2 families. His parents, both university professors in Hefei, bought a commercial property in the city's Binhu New area, its most developed area, just before retiring in 2022. The property cost nearly 10 million yuan, equivalent to about 1.4 million US dollars, their entire life savings. He explained that if those savings lost value, it would harm both their children's future and their own retirement. The property was seen as a generational asset meant to be passed down to their son. In 2022, an agent calculated that a prime 100 square meter shop could earn at least 360,000 yuan per year, assuming a daily rent of 10 yuan per square meter. With Hefei's growth, both rent and property values were expected to rise. From any angle, return on investment, asset growth, or rental income, it seemed a sound choice. Persuaded by this, the couple made the purchase. During the National Day holiday in 2025, the writer visited the property and found rents had dropped 40% compared to 2022. Even at just over 5 yuan per square meter, no one wanted to rent. When tenants did move in, they often left within months, unable to sustain their businesses despite signing 2-year leases. He added that the shop was fitted for dining use and can be equipped with a gas stove. After tenants left, he had already disposed of 3 sets of stoves. Now he wants to sell the property, but agents advised listing it at 4 million yuan. After more than 3 months on the market, there has been no interest, not even inquiries. The agent's latest advice was to lower the price by another 1 million yuan and be prepared to sell for as little as 2 million, equivalent to about 280,000 US dollars, meaning a loss of 7 to 8 million yuan in just 3 years. He added that if his parents knew the full situation, it could lead to depression or mental breakdown. The latest data from the real estate research institutions show that in September, second-hand home prices across 100 cities in China fell both year-on-year and month-on-month, marking the 41st consecutive month of decline. From June to September, the rate of decline increased further. In first-tier cities, second-hand home prices dropped 0.6% month-on-month and 4% year-on-year. Second-tier cities saw declines of 0.9% month-on-month and 8.3% year-on-year, while third and fourth-tier cities recorded drops of 0.7% month-on-month and 7.8% year-on-year. Specifically, 16 cities including Huai'an, Yancheng, and Wenzhou saw year-on-year price drops of more than 10%, with Huai'an falling the most at 17.5%. Another 62 cities, such as Changzhou, Nanchang, and Dalian, recorded declines between 5% and 10%. In 19 other cities, like Hangzhou, Taizhou, and Jiangxing, the drop ranged from 3% to 5%, while Urumqi, Shenzhen, and Chengdu saw decreases of less than 3%. On September 22nd, a Chinese vlogger shared images and data showing that second-hand home prices in first-tier cities such as Beijing, Shanghai, and Shenzhen had fallen back to 2016 levels, with Guangzhou returning to February 2017 levels. Meanwhile, Hong Kong's property prices had dropped to February 2015 levels. The sharp drop in housing prices has severely affected not only the public, but also major developers. Wang Xikong, son of former Chinese billionaire Wang Jianling, reportedly sold his luxury home in Shanghai at a loss of 20 million yuan, equivalent to about $2.8 million, further highlighting the family's financial troubles. Once seen as one of the world's most promising investment hotspots, China's property market long supported local government finances, drove infrastructure growth, and served as a key channel for middle-class wealth accumulation. But in recent years, defaults among developers, falling prices, and collapsing buyer confidence have made the bursting of the property bubble increasingly evident. Experts have identified 5 key truths behind the full collapse of China's property bubble. 1. Policy-driven distorted prosperity. China's real estate boom stemmed not from organic growth, but from policy stimulus and monetary easing. Since the 2008 global financial crisis, the government expanded infrastructure and credit to stimulate the economy, with real estate as a primary beneficiary. According to the People's Bank of China, from 2009 to 2019, real estate-related loans grew at an average annual rate of over 20%, significantly outpacing GDP growth. Local governments relied on land sales for revenue, while developers used high leverage to expand, forming a cycle of land finance, developer financing, and home purchases. In 2020, land sales generated 8.4 trillion yuan, accounting for nearly 40% of local fiscal revenue. In the first half of 2025, real estate investment totaled 1.07 trillion yuan, down 9.8% year-on-year. Residential investment dropped 9.2% to 805.6 billion yuan, and new housing projects covered only 66.14 million square meters, a 29.6% annual decline, signaling ongoing developer confidence issues and financial pressure. Developer financing faced challenges. In the second quarter of 2025, total financing reached only 100.4 billion yuan, a decade low. Defaults by major developers like Evergrande Group and Country Garden indicate that the leverage and policy-driven growth model is no longer sustainable. 2. The reversal of population structure and housing demand. The collapse of the property bubble reflects not only financial issues, but also deeper demographic and social changes. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, China's population declined by 2.08 million in 2023 and by 2.11 million in 2024. Falling birth rates and an aging population have significantly weakened long-term housing demand. Urbanization continues, but housing in first and second-tier cities has reached saturation, while third and fourth-tier cities face population outflows and shrinking job markets, exacerbating oversupply. By February 2025, unsold housing inventory reached 799 million square meters, up 5.1% year-on-year, with residential inventory rising 6.6%. Younger generations are also rethinking homeownership. A 2025 Tsinghua University survey found that only 36% of respondents aged 18 to 35 expressed a strong desire to buy a home, a drop of over 20 percentage points from 2018. High housing costs and job instability have popularized lying flat, a term for a minimalist lifestyle, making homeownership less essential. 3. The chain reaction of financial risks and confidence collapse. The real estate sector is closely tied to China's financial system, and the bubble's collapse has significantly impacted banks, trusts, and wealth management products. According to the China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission, the non-performing loan ratio for real estate reached 4.6% in 2025, a decade high. Some smaller banks face risks of bank runs threatening financial stability. Developer defaults have disrupted the bond market and led to over 1,300 unfinished projects nationwide by mid-2025, affecting more than 1.2 million buyers. Undelivered homes have eroded confidence, further reducing market transactions. In wealth management, defaults on property-linked trust products surpassed 320 billion yuan in 2024, with an additional 110 billion yuan in the first half of 2025, triggering investor protests and social unrest. Local government finances have also suffered. Land sales revenue in the first half of 2025 dropped to 3.2 trillion yuan, over 60% below the 2020 peak. Declining land revenue has intensified debt pressures, creating a vicious cycle. For policy shifts and adjustments in governance logic, Beijing's stance towards housing has fundamentally changed. The slogan, "Housing is for living, not for speculation," is now a policy priority. Authorities have declared that real estate will no longer serve as a short-term economic stimulus, with risk prevention now the main goal. Despite local measures such as rate cuts, eased purchase limits, and home buyer subsidies, new home sales in early 2025 still dropped 5.1% by area and 2.6% in value. The Real Estate Prosperity Index stood at 93.8 in February, below the neutral 100 mark, showing continued contraction. In 2025, central government spending on technology and social security surpassed that for infrastructure and real estate for the first time, signaling a permanent policy shift. 5. Constraints from international environment and capital flows. China's real estate sector once drew substantial foreign investment in offshore financing in global capital markets. However, rising geopolitical tensions, stricter capital controls, and credit rating downgrades have sharply reduced investor confidence. In the first half of 2025, foreign inflows of real estate fell to just 100 million yuan, a 90.6% decline. Economist Nouriel Roubini has observed that China's property bubble shares similarities with the 2008 U.S. subprime crisis, but is more systemic and politically charged. He cautioned that unresolved issues with unfinished projects and mounting debt will hinder the economy long term. Fluctuations in the yuan's exchange rate and capital outflow pressures have constrained China's monetary policy. In 2025, the yuan hit 7.39 against the US dollar, a decade low. Limited ability to cut rates or inject liquidity means the property market cannot recover through conventional measures. The collapse of China's property bubble results from structural factors, policy-driven distortions, demographic and demand shifts, accumulated financial risks, governance changes, and international constraints. The housing market faces a prolonged adjustment period, with the notion of wealth through property giving way to priorities like living quality and financial security. A 2025 household financial survey found that over 62% of respondents no longer view real estate as their top investment, favoring stocks, gold, and other stable assets, signaling a fundamental shift in investment thinking. An internet user commented that real estate, a pillar of China's economy, is deeply tied to livelihoods and carries the hopes and confidence of nearly all Chinese families. They argue that the rise and fall of the property market significantly impacts the Chinese Communist Party's governing legitimacy. They noted that widespread protests at sales offices occurred in 2011 to 2012, when many failed to recognize that the regime was on the brink of collapse but narrowly survived. Recently, protests at sales offices have resumed, but unlike before, the property market shows no prospect of recovery, and the regime's governing foundation is steadily weakening.